So let's talk about my experience staying at the Almar Resort in Puerto Vallarta. Upon arrival at the resort, I tried to check in. It was a little early and the room wasn't ready, so no surprise there because it was early. They did do the check-in process though, and I just had to come back once the room was ready. However, as soon as you are checked in, they introduce you to the concierge. And really, I should put concierge in air quotes there. The concierge isn't actually there to help you find anything. They are there to sell you a timeshare. And boy, are they aggressive with it. They kept trying to push something on me to try and get me to go to one of their timeshare presentations. I explained it was my first time in PV, and they still kept pushing that they needed to get this time set up with me to do this excursion, and how the first time was actually the best time to sign up, which I have a hard time believing. Before arrival, I had asked the concierge for some assistance, and frankly did not get much of what I asked for. Since we were there for my 40th birthday, I had attempted to locate a birthday cake that we could have by the beach, and they just did not assist with that at all. So while I waited for my room, I went down to the Eden Pool Bar, had a couple drinks, and just spent some time waiting for my room to be ready. They don't give you any sort of notice when your room is ready. You do just have to go back to the front desk and check. So I went back at check-in time to check and see if the room was ready. I had the Mantamar Spa Suite, spelled XPA. It was a great suite, including a hot tub in the suite itself and a view looking right out into Mantamar. The room itself was really nice, and I don't have much to complain about the room itself. I really enjoyed the lighting in there. Everything was really comfortable. My one complaint with the room itself is that the doors for the connecting doors with the rooms next door were very thin, and you could hear everything happening in the rooms next door. Which, mind you, this is a gay hotel, and when I was there, it was collab week, so I was surrounded by porn stars, which made some noisy neighbors. I was surprised, though, that the noise from Mantamar did not really impact the room that much, which was shocking given that it was right outside my room. Since I was the only one of my friends staying at Almar, it was a disappointment that I could only bring one guest back to my room at a time, and for a maximum of 3 hours. So there was no opportunity for me to have my friends up to my room to have a little celebration in my room because of their rules. And obviously, if you're there to hook up and you meet a couple out at the bar, you're not going to be able to bring them back to your room if you're only allowed one guest for a maximum of 3 hours. It's also important to note that with your guest, they do collect their IDs when they enter the building, and they do have to exit the same entrance that they came in. I felt bad for my friends who had to walk up the stairs next to Almar to get back up to their place every time. I did enjoy having that hot tub in the room, though. I was able to watch the Mantamar fireworks directly from the room from the hot tub, which was fun. Personally, I would not stay at Almar again just because of the restrictions on having guests and just the lack of response from the concierge and that push to have the timeshare sold. The thin connecting doors also would be something that would keep me from booking there again just because it was quite loud. One other important note here for the Almar Resort is that you can have charging privileges back to your room, but you are not required to do that. I did not set up any charging privileges, so I did not charge anything back to the room. That did mean when it was time for me to check out, I did have to wait at checkout for them to check the room to make sure that there was nothing missing from the minibar, so that way they would know if I had to be charged before I left. At check-in, they do take a $200 deposit in case there are any issues that happen while you're staying there with the room. But that was separate from any charging privileges that you would get. There is a separate charge if you decide that you want charging privileges back to your room. Overall, it was a fine hotel. It just wasn't for me. It's a bit more pricier than the other places, and it just did not offer what I needed for that price range. Also, gays, log yourself out of a YouTube account when you're on a public TV. The number of YouTube accounts that were logged into this TV was crazy, and I apologize to whoever's account I used that I watched a bunch of Buffy videos on. It probably messed up your algorithm, but hopefully you like Buffy.